Hey everyone, it's Amber and welcome to day 9 of my December daily. I know it's been a long time. I apologize for the really long break. It was not something I had intended to do, but it was something that I needed. So I'm glad that I took some time for myself in December and just let myself enjoy the holiday. Instead of feeling the pressure to work on videos, I had a lot of late shifts. I was busy just dealing with things for the holiday and enjoying it. So I decided just to put it on the back burner, and now it's the new year. Happy New Year's, and I'm ready to get started. So for my day 9 story, I'm going to be telling the story of movies. So if I told the same story about my favorite movies every year, it'd be really the same every time and be really boring. Because I watch a lot and they're the same and they're awesome, but they're the same. So I try to tell the story of new to me movies every year for the past few years. So I have some 3x4s printed out of the new to me stuff that I have this year. And I've got 8 that I picked and selected of ones that I had been screenshotting or saving from different platforms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 9x12 3x4 pocket page protector. I'm going to cut one of the edges off, and that way I'll have 12 spaces. So I have 8 photos. So I'll have 4 open spaces for some journaling cards, a number, and maybe 1 see-through pocket. We'll see how that works out. So I'm going to get these all cut out with some content for that. And I also really wanted to play with the tag that Allie Edwards created for her day 16. I loved it. I'm honestly going to almost completely recreate it because I love the way she made it. And it's a good way to help use up some stash because honestly, I probably wouldn't use all of these at the same time. So I've got these rubber tags here. I don't know if I wanted to use the Follow Law, but it makes sense because they're all red and white. So we've got the We Believe, the Merry and Bright, and the Follow Law. I'm still considering if I'm going to switch one out, but I don't have a better one. And I looked through my stash of old rubber tags from previous releases, and they're all way too big. So these are all better sizing. So the green would be cute maybe to potentially mix in there. We'll see. But so what I did is I did not want to cut up my transparency 6x8 acetate like Allie did. So I decided to print my own, and it came out really well. I will make sure I share that. So it doesn't have gold foiling on it, but the gold I think actually printed really well. And I went ahead and I printed out twice the amount that I needed. So I have plenty to cut out, and I'll have extras if I want them. So I'm still deciding if I want to do the ones with the stars, which are kind of light and hard to see, or if I'm going to stick with the ones with ribbon like Allie used. I think those are the ones I'm going to stick with. I believe I'm going to, I originally was going to do a 1.5 inch punch like she had done, but, which this is about the size, to give you an idea of how much room that would take up. But what I decided to instead to do is to do a 2-inch circle. And what I realized is that it's hard to see on here, I know, the gold frame behind the wreath, they don't all have it, but it's 2 inches. So I thought that that would be a nice size to put behind the wreath so that they look more even. And it would give me like a solid size. So it's not just like a white circle hanging out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to put 2-inch circles for some journaling pieces there. So this is actually going to be the beginning of day 9 with the creative and fun stuff. The back of it is going to have more actual journaling, and then the page protector will be behind that. So I think I want to use this Vellum 9 from the Numbers Scrapbook Story Kit. It was a nice bright red. And that might actually just be one of the pockets by itself, layered with an embellishment. I'm not quite sure. It kind of would be floating, so I can definitely tie it down with something else. I have this, oops, slipped right under my keyboard there. I have this 3x4 card from the Paisley Press Kit, and it's a nice bright red. I thought that the font was a really good Christmassy kind of font that matches some of the Christmas fonts. The other side's black and it says Embray, but I thought this little space right here was the perfect spot to put a little embellishment. So I pulled out this craft heart that says We Believe. I thought that would look really cute in there. I know it's kind of repeating, but other stuff I had considered, I have a holiday fun flag. It kind of seemed a little lost in there for space. I also picked out the Come On Santa. So I'm considering that one too, but I really like the We Believe one, and the Come On Santa I could save more for like Christmas Eve. I also considered the Holly Jolly Goodness because that's a nice green. And we shall see. So just pulled out a collection there. So I still need to find at least 1 or 2 more journaling cards. So I've got my stash picked out over here for some stuff that I can go through and select. I probably don't really need anything with journaling, so I'm looking more towards filler cards because I'm going to have plenty of space for journaling, and I have journaling on these circles here as well. So I pretty much just need to start assembling. Oh, I forgot also, I have this card, which says 'Tis the Season, which is perfect for movies, and I pulled out some of the cardstock Santas as well. So that could be, and they actually, if I wanted to make them a see-through pocket, they almost work back to back as well if I really wanted to. So we'll see. Just have to pick one, and Santa would be cute for Christmas stories. So just need to get started assembling and we'll see where we end up. But I'm really excited to be diving back into the project. I've actually been wanting to work on it for a while, and I wasn't sure what I wanted my day 9 story to be. And I decided to just go ahead and make it the movies one. And I have a lot of my stories written down, which is good. So like I've got notes and I'm pretty much ready to go. The other thing I still need to do is go back and work on day 6. So I have that started as well. So we will be rocking and rolling. And I hope you guys are still excited to see the daily content, because I'll be releasing videos as I keep working on the projects. Okay, so one of the first things that I did was get everything cropped out and put into the page protector, which I also cropped off the camera. So here I'm just kind of working with the placement of the photos and trying to figure out the journaling and if I'm happy with the upper right hand pocket being my see-through pocket. And so I needed to be able to visualize everything and see if that's what I was happy with, if I liked where the embellishments were going to be. So I, for now, was happy with that, and I do end up sticking with that, and I just tucked the things back in the pocket. And I'm just considering using that journaling card on the back. I didn't really truly love it, and spoiler alert, I ended up not going with it, but for now it's tucked in there as well. So here I'm using my 2-inch circle punch to punch out these little journaling spots so I can start working on this tag. I kind of keep going back and forth with it a little bit. So I was thinking I was going to be building the front half right away, but the tags have so much dimension that I kind of work on them and then set it aside, work on the pocket page again, and then I kind of end up building this part again last. And so my original plan too was to also kind of do it a little bit differently from Allie's, where I kind of at least put the tags in different positions and the wreaths in different positions, but the way the bows fit and everything, it just actually made sense to continue with the pattern the same way. So I'm just trying to get everything organized. Wanted to make sure I liked the wreaths that I cut out and picked in the directions that I have them going in. And then I'm going to start fussy cutting them out little by little. So I'm not going to make you sit through all of that, but I just kind of originally cut them out into basic squares, and then I'm going to just fussy cut them off camera so I can see how it looks. I think I'm doing one now here just so I can see how it's going to look and show you what it looks like on the camera here, but I should be placing it down in just a moment. So there I've moved on to continuing with the fussy cutting, and I'm just trying to vary potentially the rubber tags. I did consider switching out this green rubber tree one. I did like it, but it felt like it was too distracting with the other ones being red, and I decided to go ahead and stick with the Fa La La one anyway. So here I pulled out some green twine that I got last year. I think it's a Martha Stewart option. It has a little bit, a tiny bit of silver metallic running through it, but I did try to take my crocodile and punch the holes a little bit wider just to make it easier for the twine to go through, and I'm just simply pulling it through and tying it off and then cutting it shorter so it doesn't overlap the journaling too much. I didn't want to try to force ribbon through these little tiny holes. Twine was good enough for me. I'm going to end up using ribbon on the top hole later. So I felt like that was fine. And I even decided to go ahead and use the little Santa on top of the rubber tag. I looked for another embellishment that was tiny and would fit so that I wasn't completely copying Allie, but it was just so darn cute that I decided to go ahead and do that. So here I attached my vellum number 9 to some sticker paper that I always use. It's from scrapbook.com. That way I can make it a double-sided adhesive. And then once I trim that out, it's basically like putting it through a Xyron, then I'm going to attach it to some white cardstock. This way I hadn't even thought yet to attach it down to anything in the pocket, but I did know that since I was going to put the Santa die cut on the other side, I wanted to attach it to some white paper. So I'm just putting it on some scrap paper that I have there, and I'm going to re-trim it back out again. This way it just has a solid background so that the Santa shape on the other side, since it's not the same, doesn't look so odd, basically. So just getting that trimmed out and seeing how that looks with the Santa hat. The only thing that shows through is the tiny little bit of a palm from his hat from the other side. So then I had the idea to grab some of this Swiss dot vellum from American Crafts. You can find it on scrapbook.com. I'll try to make sure I get that linked for you. So I'm cutting a scrap piece that I have down to 3x4. And I'm just seeing how I like that in the pocket, and I decided to go ahead and go with that. So it's a little bit of a see-through piece with it's still being kind of controlled, I guess. So it's not just floating out there with nothing. I could have done acetate or looked for some transparency with the pattern, but I liked the vellum actually. I thought it looked really cool, especially with the white and red striped tag and the white and red Mary 3x4 card. I thought the little bit of a white polka dot looked really cute. So I'm just using some adhesive to get everything stuck down, including that little flag from the die cuts that says Holiday Fun. I just thought another little pop of green would look good there. And then in a moment I will leave you with a little bit of a live look as I keep making some decisions. Okay guys, so I was thinking about a way to finish this last bit up. I decided not to go with the 'Tis the Season card. It seemed too simple. I was thinking about using this Ho 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 die cut here, and I was trying to find a pattern paper, and I remembered I had this printout here, which is on Epson presentation paper. It's the premium matte double-sided, so it's ready to go. So I could cut that into a 3x4, and then I could use this Holly Jolly Goodness because it's a creamy color, and I think that would look really cute to help finish off. It'll help pull in some of the red. The Ho 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 goes with the Santa. I think that's going to be the perfect solution to finish off the page. I'll just save that die cut for something else. So I really like that little bit of finish. So one thing that I've been doing a lot of is not wanting to cut into my patterned papers, because like I do have this in like the physical copy. Oops, orange. Ooh, I gotta pay attention. But I don't want to cut into it if I don't have to. So I've been printing out digital versions of things when I can. Same with like, you know, these wreaths. If I don't need to chop into it, I don't have to, and I can save that for a time when like I really specifically want to have that physical piece. I'm just going to glue these two together. Probably going to need to trim it a teeny bit. So I'm just going to wait until they are connected and then trim. But I love using that as a spot for the Holly Jolly Goodness because it is like a creamier color, and I don't always use, I'm not always drawn to that color product. I usually prefer like bright whites. So I think that's gonna look cute. And I'm debating if I put it on the outside with a little bit of dimension. The problem is all my dimension has been on the inside of the album, and I need all my dimension to be more on the outside of the album. So I mean, I could move this around, but the problem is then it's gonna be, well, I could, it doesn't have to be identical to this page just because, of course, I just glued these back together. You know, just because that page is set up that way doesn't mean it has to be identical. I can put that in the middle, helps move it over a slight bit. Yeah, let's do that. Looks good, doesn't need a change. And then I'm gonna use some foam squares. This is a nice thick cardstock, so it should be fine outside the page protector. Just testing to see if there's any weak spots. All right, I'm just going to peel these off, and then we are done with the layout. I still need to figure out my journaling and put it on the back of that tag, but the actual page protector part is finished. So I will say I love my Gina K squares because they are nice and low profile, but unlike all the rest of her products where the release paper is really easy to remove, these can be difficult sometimes. Like, you really need nails to remove it. But I love how thin it is. So it's not as thick as other foam tapes or pop-up dots. So I really do like that aspect of it. Love that. Super cute. Okay. Alrighty, I just need to work on finishing up my tag. Okay, so the last and final steps that I'm working on are for the tag here. I made a hybrid digital using a 2021 4x4 card actually, and I just duplicated the pattern at the top and the bottom to be able to extend it to be a 5x8 tag size. For some reason it printed like 1/8 of an inch too small on the top and bottom, or you know, however it worked, and I had to print it out twice. The first time I realized there was a small one missing letter typo, so I didn't want to print it a third time, so I just went ahead and used the first copy to add some extra pattern to the left and a little bit to the top, and honestly once it's all put together you can't even tell. So got that all pieced together with tape around the outside edges. Now I'm about ready to re-punch the holes. I'm using my 6-hole punch here for the sides and my 1/4 power punch for the top where the ribbon's going to go through. So I don't have a link anymore for the 6-hole punch from Michaels. It was part of their Recollections planner collection and people ask me for it all the time, so I do apologize. But the power punch I have linked in my most used Amazon items all the time if you're interested. So now I can finally get to work on adhering everything on the front. I use that same scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive for these acetate pieces for the wreaths. So it's basically like a sticker. So I'm sticking it down onto the cardstock, and since there's only a little bit of adhesive around the wreath, I'm also putting adhesive behind the cardstock as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Then I'm using red line tape behind the rubber tags. You want to make sure that's the only adhesive you use on rubber. Anything else will have a bad reaction and can like melt and ruin your album. So be really careful with that. So I'm just getting all that put down. Really happy with how it came out. Grateful to Allie for the inspiration, because I would not have thought to put this together in this way, but I really love it. And I try not to usually copy people completely, but I really, really loved this one. And the rest of the layout is my own design. So just getting ready to put the ribbon on the top. I originally thought about using either a red or a green May Arts ribbon, but the chevron was just way too busy with the stripes. So I'm going to pull out a lace crochet kind of looking one that I have from Martha Stewart that I found at like a TJ Maxx or a Ross or something last year. And I thought that that would look good because it's more of a solid color, but it's still sort of fun. So I'm just getting that trimmed out and stapled in place using my tiny attacher. And it actually keeps trying to curl on me, so I stapled it to the card anyway, but then I had to put another staple in vertically to help keep the pieces separated so that it'll kind of hopefully stay in place. Next, I had to repunch new holes in the page protector so that it will fit into the album. Since it was a 9x12, it only had 4 holes, but that's never a problem. And that's pretty much it. I'll leave you with a live look in a moment. Okay, friends, we are all done. This actually took a long time, but I'm really happy with how it came out. Love this front of this tag. It's a nice little intro with some journaling, and then the longer journaling. Added one of these chipboard stickers from Ellie's Studio. I will link it if it's still available. With the holiday movie time, it kind of repeats, but you know, I needed something to fill that space, and good enough for me. Added my journaling, and then really liking how this came out and how this came out. And then the vellum, I actually hadn't planned to do that, but I really like the way that that adds a little bit of a see-through element, but doesn't make it totally see-through. So overall, really, really pleased and glad to have another page done in the album. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon for day 10. Thanks again. Bye for now.